All right, what's up, guys? We are live. Another episode of the Unplugged Alpha podcast, number 186 in the series. And today's a little bit of a different one. We're stepping away from the chapters and going to something I went viral for. I don't usually go viral on Twitter X, but it was just a collection of a few words that started a entire trend. I'll get into that in a second. There'll be lots of time in today's show for some Q&A. Probably won't take me much longer than 30, 45 minutes to get through this tweet that sort of went sideways. um, and I'll break down why and, the kind of the psychology behind it and, the triggering mechanisms there. It's really, really bizarre to me. Before I continue, I have a great announcement for you guys. A lot of you were complaining that my audio and sound wasn't going so hot in the car, and the last one I did in the garage talking about the 992 Porsche. This is I've been a GoPro guy for years. This is a Hero, there's a 9, I think it's a 9. Anyway, shotgun mic on it. It's not the greatest. I was talking to my buddy that does a lot of the videography for our rallies, and look what I got. A DJI Osmo 6. These have very good low light capabilities. And look at that mic pack with 2 microphones. So potentially, these are wireless now, potentially I can do interview style drives in the Entrepreneurs and Cars channel, which might be interesting because I've never really done that. I haven't done it in a long time. I used to do it at the beginning of the channel, but I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll do some side-by-sides now that I can get 2 mics in there and see what happens with that. But yeah, let's get into today's topic in a minute. Let me bring your attention to the top left of the screen. If you scan that QR code, it'll take you to the School of Unplugging. Now, I've done some pretty dramatic changes to the school. Like I said a few weeks ago, it's under new management, and I have changed the classroom material, the curriculum, the movement behind the school. And it's taken on a lot of new members. I'm going to drop this in the live chat over here in case you guys are interested. You should probably open it up in a window and take a look at it maybe after the show. But there's tons of value in there. Like, for example, the other day, I got my USB, big ass USB. I don't know if you can see how big that is. Big ass USB from my 1% Forum event. And I added all of the video content there in the school. 2 years of that's $6,000 worth of material, to attend live event. I mean, the networking part in the room is the best part, obviously, but I've taken the recordings. They're in the School of Unplugging. There's 3 times a week Zoom calls for support on your coaching to level up. It's built around the 7 spokes of a high value man. I've got some new experts that I've added to the team, including Dr. Anthony J, who will be joining us next year in very specific monthly Zoom calls covering topics in sequential order that'll help you level up with your health and everything like that. So if that's something that's interesting to you, scan the QR code in the top left, get in. We're at 137 members. When we had 150, the price is going up. It's going to double. So it's like less than $50 a month right now. So hop on in. All right, let's get started. Where are my tabs over here? Oh, one other thing before I get started, almost forgot. In the ticker below, the green flag chapter is now on the email list. So when you opt into the email list, the green flag chapter is also available in addition to the red flag chapter. So this is something that you guys asked of me a few years ago when I was putting the stuff into the book, and you're like, what are the bright traits? What are the things that we should look for when it comes to relationship and women? So I put my best stuff into that one as well, and you can get that absolutely for free by getting on the email list. So tons and tons of value for you guys tonight. All right, let's get started. So this is a tweet that kind of recurs on my Twitter feed, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's 8 words. I never thought 8 words would blow up like this did, but it got me trending on Twitter, got me tens and tens of millions of views, just because I said, just look at that degree. Sorry, just look at the degree on that chick. Okay. And in passing over time, here, I'll put it up on the screen and we'll go over this together. Kind of in passing over time, I have shared this tweet dozens upon dozens of times. This one was different because this showed up in my feed, when I logged in. And I just cropped it, dropped it in, and I just copied and pasted in, the standard reply, which is just look at that degree on that chick. And then no man ever is who's making that statement, obviously. Now, I'll get into all the bookmarks that I sort of put up to sort of get down the rabbit hole of this, but I found it really interesting because the source of just check out the degree in that chick was just a quick, snappy soundbite that I put together after I was reading Dr. Warren Farrell's book. He's got several. There's Myth of Male Power, and there's quite a few other in his catalog. They're all really good. He's this kind of like soft-spoken older gentleman, was formerly like the lead of various feminist organizations. And as he was trying to advocate for women and attending these events and talking to people, he started to realize that we don't live in a patriarchy, we live in a matriarchy, and there's a lot more misandry than there is misogynistic issues out there. And if those complex words sound like something you got to go look up in a dictionary or Wikipedia, you don't need to. I'll save you the trouble. All that he really concluded was that men are viewed as success objects to women, and women are viewed as beauty/sexual objects to men. That's how we operate on the sexual marketplace. And that wasn't, like a huge revelation for me, but I think for a lot of people, when you kind of sum it up along the lines of, hey, just look at that degree on that chick, no man ever, it kind of makes sense. So you'll see a lot of the times, women, and there is a thread. So what they did here, let me just stop sharing and share the tab instead of the window. This will make a lot more sense if I do it this way. Window. Is that it? Yeah, there we go. So this is just a screenshot, and this is the gal that's now the doctor that kind of blew this up for me. So what's her name? Juliet. So thank you, Juliet, and congratulations on your degree. So it says here in today's news, women flood X with degree photos rebunking Richard Cooper's meme. Yours truly. And what was that again? It was just this one little tweet where I said, just look at the degree on that chick, no man ever. Now, this got, I shared the screenshot on Instagram when I was kind of promoting this show for tonight, and it got something like 30 million impressions just on that one, which is abnormal because 1 million impressions on something that I drop on that platform is usually pretty consistent for me. So just saying, look at the degree on that chick, no man ever, and then letting these women sort of amplify it that have had their degrees, they sort of took it as a, well, here, let's go over to where is he? Where's our boy? Okay. Did I close the tab? I might have to pull it up, but there's a tab here with Rob Henderson. And he was talking about doing an interview. What was the quote that he put? I shared it on my Instagram. Where did it go? There it is. Okay. I had to stage. So I like this guy, Rob, actually. I've gone over some of his videos. I've used some of his content in the creation of my work, but apparently, he took it the wrong way. And he said, just recorded a 1-hour podcast with Louise Perry. Who's this chick? This one over here, about the psychology of the losers seething with rage at this woman. Dr. Turner, we support you. So he's letting this gal over here, Juliet, know that he supports her and that he is upset and offended to some degree about the losers who were seething with rage at this woman. Now, I don't know if you guys are like newer here or you don't know me that well, but I'm not the guy that's a loser or seething with rage. So either or. But we'll take a look at some of the comments because maybe there was some people that were pissed off that pushed some buttons that kind of blew this up and exaggerated it. So let's have a look over here as we add to stage. So this was her response to it. She retweeted it. I'm sure having my photo shared in this derogatory way would be devastating if my motivation for getting a PhD was to impress this guy and women hating friends. I don't care. I really don't. I wasn't expecting you to get a degree to impress me or any other men, but yet here we are with a woman showcasing her academic accomplishments. And then when you go to my tab over here with the search bar, which is just look at the degree on that chick. So if you just go to X right now and you search for just look at the degree on that chick, you'll see what ended up happening. And this is how women view. So again, this is one of the older ones that I put out in 2024. It pops up because it's a gal on a dating app with a picture of her degree, holding it in front of you, and in tongue in cheek, I'll say something like, "Just look at the degrees on her," said by no man ever. So I've been saying this for a while, for a couple of years, but this is the first time that it got blown up. So there's the first one, right? I got 20 million views over here, and then you had all these other gals that took the just look at the degree on that chick and blew it up all over Twitter, not realizing what it meant, right? Look at me. I am in my gown. I've just, been accomplished, photographed in front of the big door in the stone archway. Another gal over here with her kids, with one of the kids holding the degree. Just look at the degree on that chick. Just look at the degree on that chick. Another one in her gown with the hat up in the air. Rachel says, "I'm liking this trend. Just look at the degree on that chick." She's not even looking at the camera. She's looking down on the ground. I, of course, screen captured a couple of these, and I said, just search for this, because like, these women don't get the point of this tweet. And you keep going down, you see more and more and more, like, holding 3 degrees. Just look at the degrees on that chick. V over here. Girls education activist, young leader at United Nations, youth speaker is what she does. So she's got a degree in whatever that is. Just look at the degree on that chick. This one over here. Another one. Not very, very low cut top. Another one. A whole bunch more over here. Another one. Right. You keep going right down the list. And there's thousands of them. Thousands upon thousands upon thousands of them, right? Just look at the degree on that chick, right? Essentially like sheep. I've said this before, human beings are like sheep, and no difference, given the opportunity. Now, going back up to the top, we were looking at her comment about what does she call it? The disparagement or something like that. Now, here's the interesting thing. So my buddy 50 mentioned this to me after he saw it, and he said, "We've all seen a really attractive woman and gone, wow, she's hot." And then somebody goes, "Yeah, well, she's also got a PhD in astrophysics." And then we kind of nod our heads and go, "Okay, cool, whatever." But we've never gone, "That girl's really unattractive," and then had somebody say, "Well, that girl has a PhD in astrophysics," and then go, "Oh, okay, well, now she's hot," right? That's just not how attraction works. And that's the point that I was getting at, which these women completely missed. And, the simps that are also, propping them up and trying to, be the apologetics for the male species, as they often say when you look at the comments. But it's like, they just don't get it, right? The chasing of excellence is what women find attractive in men. And I mean, again, if you're newer here to the channel, you may not remember, but there was a podcast that I created called Ladies Night that I hosted for a good year and change, and then handed it off to a couple of the other boys to sort of run for a bit. But we saw a very consistent pattern, and it was like women that were still marketable on the sexual marketplace from the attraction perspective. We're doing the same thing that all women tend to do nowadays, which is they put off family formation, they put off prioritizing, finding a good father, husband, and they go and they either travel the world or they chase degrees and they go and collect those. And then at some point when they're into their 30s or even early 40s, they want to get right with everything, and go and find a husband and have kids. And a lot of you guys out there have, shared the frustration of coming across women when they're, close to the end of their reproductive opportunities in their late 30s, mid 30s, even early 40s. Like, even there's a lot of guys that have shown me screenshots of gals that are like 41, 42, like wants to start a family. I've had my fun, accomplished, successful. I have my house, I have my car, sort of thing. And then they find themselves in a position where there's no time left and there's no guys left, or there's no guys left that are willing to take them seriously. Maybe there's only guys left that are just looking for fun at that point, or they're not interested in doing anything on a serious level with them because it doesn't make sense for them from a whole bunch of angles. And the point of my tweet really is to warn women of this. It's like, there's no guy that's going to admire and acknowledge your degree the same way that they're going to admire and acknowledge your beauty and any sexual opportunity that they can have with you, to form a family and have children, all that sort of stuff. But, I digress. This is where we are. I get called a misogynist. If you look at a lot of the comments on any one of these threads, right? You got this guy over here, John Pork, bro, you a pick me for conservative men and a bunch of random women still ratio you on Twitter. You got to switch your approach or you won't have enough people buy your course. Keep renting your supercars. And John, of course, doesn't have a photograph of himself. It's just a cat with 31 followers, right? So, you get a lot of these white knights. It's one of my favorite memes, to drop when you end up with that in your comment section. But it's like, another one of here. Do you legitimately not understand how this works for everyone? I've never seen a man I thought was unattractive and had that changed by his academic achievement. Hot and smart is something everyone likes. This grift is wearing thin. She doesn't know what she's talking about. How old is this lady? She looks kind of old here. I can't really tell, but it looks like gray hair. Nice cope from Mark. All you've done is shown that you're unfamiliar with how educated people live. Look up the term assortive mating and make a fool of yourself publicly. There's a lot of stated preferences that are made, these days, including, the stuff like, are you actually mentally retarded? Like technically from Lizzie. Anyway, all of these academics. And the funny thing is that the chick that sort of blew up, what was her name? Juliet, that sort of blew up the tweet. I believe her degree was in evolutionary biology. I think her thesis was in ants or something like that. I saw somebody make a comment about ants and, empty eggs or whatever. But you'd think somebody that studies like evolution, whether it's evolutionary psychology, evolutionary biology, even the point from Rob Henderson, who was calling it seething with losers seething with anger or something like that. They all completely miss the point. And you'd think these academics with their pieces of paper on the wall framed in mahogany with little letters after the name would actually get it, but they don't. All of these people, all of these women that are using the catchphrase that I put out there and then attaching their photograph in their graduation gown, all made up with their hair and makeup and their shoes and their nails and everything like that. They've put hours into the appearance. It's funny because they put all the hours into the appearance, the optics of beauty. And then they go and they say, oh, I've done none of this for attention. I've only done this for myself. Then why dye your hair? Why do your nails? Why put on high heels? Why put on stockings? Why put on red lipstick? Why put on the big earrings? Why show a lot of skin, cleavage, the top, where, you see that in a lot of photographs as well too. It's because they inherently know that women are beauty objects to men. The mistake that you'll see a lot of women make is they figure, well, I like successful, competent, resourceful, strong, masculine, smart men, sort of thing. Like I want to attract that guy. I want to get that guy, sort of thing. And for some of them, they use a language like husband. Maybe they'll use language like boyfriend. If they're more left-leaning, they'll use a word partner, for example. So they know what they're looking for. But instead of being what that kind of guy is attracted to, which is generally beautiful, pure, respectful, kind, thoughtful. These are the kinds of traits that, men are looking for in women, not, oh, what degree do you have on your wall on evolutionary biology with your thesis on ants? Like, that's not what guys are seeking. If they did, like I said earlier, ugly women, when men are told, oh, by the way, she has a degree in astrophysics, all of a sudden they'd be like, that's awesome. Now she's hot. Now she's gone from not attractive at all to absolutely stunning because I know she's got a degree on the wall, right? And that just doesn't happen. But you can't get through to these people, right? They don't want to hear it. They want to point and sputter and call your names because that's all they got. They don't have a real argument. They don't have a counter to your point. It's just, let me see if I can make this guy look bad, which is their typical stance, right? And I think I don't know, where was it over here? This one over here. So this girl, the bigoted man baby tried to belittle this woman's academic achievement, and her brutal response was simply first class, right? So it's like, ooh, I burned him, right? And they go and dig up a photo of me on a podcast, and they stick it on there, and it's called Poke, Time Well Wasted. I'm actually surprised that I'm not sure if she went to the extent of doing this. Whoever this John Plunkett guy is, a real pleb, but anyway, they put these things together, right? And it's like free marketing and free advertising for me. It's it's never ending. I'm going to close a few of these tabs as I sort of go through them. So again, if you guys want to look at a lot of the posts that came up on that trend, just search for it. Just look at the degree on that chick, and you'll see it come up. Again, apparently Rob did a 1-hour podcast with this psychologist Louise Perry. So maybe that might be interesting for you guys to listen to if you're into that. I like Rob. He clearly doesn't like me. He's had me blocked before. I'm not really sure what his beef is, but maybe I said something like that offended him. Who knows? And then you got some of the other guys that are sort of like trying to hit it from a different angle. So maybe this is who Rob Henderson is like phrasing when he's calling them what do you call them, seething losers, or losers seething with hatred, I think it was. So this fellow over here, Fugitive Caesar, not related to the pretentious billionaire psycho or fool Edison. Anyway, he said, we destroyed the entire college system, corporate system, and American industrial base so that women can get fake jobs, which they are completely disinterested in, and they drop out at age 28 to get married. Maybe this was one of the guys, right? I mean, I don't agree with this. I genuinely think that this Dr. Juliet Turner actually likes what she does. If you look at her Instagram feed, she's got lots of photographs with her with bugs and mushrooms and just the stuff that she likes to do. And she seems to be like a genuine smile. I don't know if she's got a boyfriend, if she's married, if she's single, or what the status is, but I would imagine, with the attitude that pervasive with all of the gals that were posting all these photographs with them, with their degrees, they're all kind of cut, from the same cloth. It's like put off family formation, prioritize degrees and academia so that you can study bugs or whatever it is that their, degree happens to be in, sort of thing. And if that's your thing and you like that, that's cool, right? If that floats your boat. But the problem is the vast majority of women, I found anyway, when I was doing the Ladies Night podcast, especially as they get older, they want to find the guy, right? Like they want to find the man. They want to have a family. And that calling gets very, very loud for them. There's another one over here. I think this guy's more of like one of the black pillar, like incels or something. It says he follows me, but whenever I hear Foid, I think Foid is like one of those terms that black pillars, tend to use. So this move is known as the Foid triple dip, and it's not for the faint of heart. It's a 3-step process for maximum internet attention. It says post a selfie doing something controversial for engagement. After controversy, post about how awful it is that you, just a girl, can't post a selfie without incels posting hateful things. Finish up with a reflection on all the trolling, letting the incels know that you're out here living your best life, right? And I mean, that's his assessment of it. So, I can get why, they would do a podcast on maybe the seething anger, how it could be interpreted. For the record, I don't care if this girl's thesis, about this girl's thesis, or know whether or not it's any good. It seems more legit than Smell Girl's obvious BS disso. I don't know what that means. But it should be said that part of the reason people flip out on these girls in school posts is there's an understanding that academia and degree collecting is just another form of Jewish daycare for girls. Okay, so he's got that angle on it. So no one really takes it seriously when 99% of them are talking about school and all the important things they've learned. And the vast majority of worthwhile scholarship, as always, has been done by men. I mean, there's some truth to that. Well, he's one of the groypers, looks like. The people that have the froggy up. But yeah, not my angle of life. We'll drop this over here. Let's go back to where is the top post? I think it's on my profile. So if we go to the top one over here, here it is. So this is the example of where just about all women end up. And some people were saying to me like, "Oh, this can't be real, Rich. This is, this has got to be fake. This is AI." You know what? I'm at the point where it could be either or. But I've talked to enough women on podcasts where it's like I've had a conversation with this gal. I think her name's Penelope or something. Yeah, Penelope Stevens. I've had a conversation with a gal like this many times over. She's about 40 years old. 40-year-old woman. I have no idea why I can't find a husband. Also 40-year-old woman. Well, let's have a listen. I'm not going to ruin it for you. Let's play it here. Oops. And play. Somebody made a comment about her hair. That's actually a hair bow that she's got on. I found out in another video that I posted below that. So I know it's going to be the first thing that comes up. It's going to wig you guys out. And this is a matchmaker, by the way. Notice the bird hand already. We've talked about bird hand before. I guess I'm disqualified. Speed this up a bit. All right, you guys are saying no audio there, so my bad. Hold on a second. Let me see what's going on here. We're having some technical difficulties. Yes, share audio tab. What's the problem here? There we go. I screwed that up. Sorry guys, we're gonna replay it. Here you go. Let's get this right now.
Basically, I'm just very clear on what I want. There's a lot of boxes that need to be ticked. I know this man is out there. And it's just a matter of finding him. 7-figure salary.
Right.
Already said morning routine.
Yes.
That includes some sort of exercise with group accountability, as well as some sort of very high nutrition, I'm going to say smoothie. At least 5'10". I feel like that's generous. I need him to be obviously in very good shape. I need him to have a full head of hair. That's very important to me.
Okay.
Be a Christian, but not take it too seriously. Like, I don't want to have to go to church every Sunday, but I don't want to get in fights over religion either.
Sure. Of course.
I want him to have an impeccable wardrobe. I want his suits to be tailored. I want him to look good in greens and blues because those are complementary to what I look good in. Absolutely no jewelry.
Okay.
Absolutely no tattoos.
Okay.
Unless the only tattoo that would be acceptable would be a very small tattoo if he were in a secret society at an Ivy League university and was forced to get a tattoo, that I would make a pass for.
She was forced.
I want him to be from a good family. I'll know that what that means when I see it, or what more well said, I'll know what wouldn't satisfy that criteria when I see it.
Okay.
Never been married, no kids. I want to be his first wife. Our children are going to be his only children.
Mm-hmm.
No allergies. Has to like animals. I would prefer that he's a cat person, but if he's a dog person, that's okay. I think that's it.
Yeah.
How soon can you find the man that satisfies this checklist? Are we
I
talking a week?
And I mean, it carries on. There's actually more sequencing after this. And here, I'll play the follow up. But I mean, if you didn't catch it, it's like that's a long ass laundry list. That's a very long, demand list of a man. It's got to be tall, got to have a full head of hair, has to have a university degree, has to have a tailored wardrobe, has to like pets, preferably cats, but she's okay with dogs. No tattoos, no jewelry. The only tattoo that's acceptable is if you went to an Ivy League school and some secret society and you have to have the tattoo. What else was there? You have to have a smoothie in the morning, a workout routine that is acceptable to her list of demands. No kids from a prior relationship, never been married before. She will be his first wife, and their children will be his only children. Blah 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 blah. Right, and it actually continues. There's more, but wait, there's more. This is the next part.
Where would you say that your standards are so high that you're just not finding it anywhere?
So I am very successful. Want to be the managing director of my law firm. I'm always looking at the next stage of my life. And I have found that most of the men that I've dated are not this serious about doing what it takes to perform at the level that I perform at.
So one of the things that you mentioned was that you were looking forward to, and correct me if I'm wrong, becoming manager or managing director of your law firm. And
Oops.
And right now, from what I'm aware, through the person that gifted this to you, you are lead receptionist.
She's a receptionist, but she wants a fucking 7-figure dude.
So I wanted to just kind of see. That's a big aspiration, and it's wonderful. I think it's wonderful to chase our dreams.
Yes. And it's not chasing a dream. It's creating the next steps of a life that are absolutely set in stone at this point. Yes, technically, is the badge on my desk, is the title on my paycheck lead receptionist? Yes. Do I do a million times more than just leading reception? 100%. I am, quite frankly, the most essential person in that entire law firm. I do have a law degree. Okay. And so the reason I'm not actually practicing law right now is because I've had a little bit of an issue with the licensure board of the state. It's really just a technicality based around the fact that I can't pass the bar exam, but that will be over very soon. And promises have been made to me within the firm that as soon as I can get my licensure cleared up, which again is really just a technical issue, that I will basically go from head receptionist to full partner. And then from there, it's a hop, skip, and a jump to managing partner.
There you go. So, you two can apply now to be with Penelope. I don't know how to pronounce Penelope. That lead receptionist's future husband. if you so wish and desire. If you're tall enough and handsome enough and have tailored suits and like dogs and don't have any tattoos and wear greens and blues so they complement her colors and, blah, 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 blah. And, people will go, oh, that's not real. It's a joke. That's AI. It's just, it's a skit. But is it really? I talked about the avatar of Becky and the Top Shelf Man, and Becky is real. There's not a Becky, or there's one person that's identified as this individual. It's like, this is just what I'm calling modern women today, right? Because the disconnect from the reality that exists in the sexual marketplace between men and women, and what attracts and what also retains, which they don't seem to get. So this is where we're at. And, people always challenge me and like, Rich, why don't you do more to fix this? You should run, for politics and pass bills and legislation to fix all this. And if you don't, then you're a wimp, Rich. Why don't you step up to the plate? Blah, 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 blah. And that's why. Because at the end of the day, there really is no point in fighting any of this. It's, like, it is what it is. It just happens to be as it happens to be. And you have to just surrender and accept the reality of the sexual marketplace. Women are putting off prioritizing having families and children and pair bonding to a men. And instead, that's been replaced with one of two things, sometimes a combination of both. It's either chasing degrees, climbing the corporate ladder, and or traveling and partying and having fun, right? Both of which have nothing to do with optimizing themselves in a sexual marketplace when their values are highest in their early 20s, which is the ideal time for pair bonding, family formation, and pumping out a bunch of kids, which is what all chicks want. At the end of the day, even though they'll deny it in their 20s and what's wrong with you? You're seething with resentment. They'll call you all kinds of names. Oh, you're bald. Well, thanks. I know I shaved my head. I realize that. The whole point of all of this is really, you're dumb and you don't understand where you're at and where you're going. And I get to some degree why women make these choices. There's not a lot of marriageable men out there. Marriage sucks. There's a lot of men that are marriageable type of men that women want, but they're not stupid enough to put their entire net worth on the line and let the government tell them what to do with their money or access to their kids, because they're not dumb. So they're not getting married. So we live in an environment now where, women post pictures of themselves with degrees in their gowns. And, guys are pointing to them going, I don't care. And then they go, well, yes, you do care. And I'm going to make this blog post and some bullshit news article about you seething with anger and resentment, when we really don't care. Chase your degrees, study bugs. I don't give a flying fuck. Have fun with it. Guys, enjoy the decline. This is the reality of the sexual marketplace that, that we're in. I really, truly hope that all of these boss girls with the degrees find what they're looking for. I don't think that they will, because every single time I have this conversation, or I had this conversation in the past when doing the podcast on Ladies Night, it was all the same sequence of bad choices over and over again, 100% of the time. It was like 85% of the women just made the stupidest choices. And then there was the other 15% that made the right choices, either at the right time or at the wrong time. And that was the split, right? So, I mean, you could take half of that 50 and call it 7.5. So just over 90% of the women, from my experience in the podcast, and it's archived, guys, you can go and watch the conversations with all these women. Oh, Rich, you're lying. You're full of shit. You don't go watch the podcast. You'll see it. You'll see it unfold in front of your eyes. Prioritizing partying, prioritizing hooking up, prioritizing getting degrees, prioritizing career, prioritizing 17 decorative pillows on the bed, the Tesla, the degrees, the student debt, paying it off, all the acknowledgments and accolades, and single and lonely, in their 40s, looking for a guy that ain't ever going to show up. What do you want me to tell you? You should have listened to me. It is what it is. Have fun with your cats. Have fun with your degrees. Have fun with your accomplishments. Study your bugs. Study whatever it is that you're going to do. It is what it is. But none of this is going to change anytime soon. And that's kind of the point that I'm, making here with this. It's like, I am not going to change any of this. I'm not going to convince any of these women to prioritize finding a good man at the peak of their sexual marketplace value when they've got the most leverage, 2022, 23, in their early 20s anyway. And I'm not going to convince guys to sign up for something like, marriage when I've already talked about it a million times and how stupid it is, because family law will fuck up your life so badly. And the way that it encourages women to behave terribly during the divorce process and get custody and extract your resources from you. Guys are like, I'm not doing it. And then it's like people go, well, why is the birth rate declining, Rich? That's why. Because women are putting off having kids. Men are putting off commitment to women. The end state of hypergamy is polygyny, which basically forces all of the women with their success and their degrees to fight for the top shelf guy. The top 5-10% of guys, they're all chasing the same dude. And he's just sitting there having fun, playing them all, doing whatever he wants, whenever he wants. And every once in a while, you'll see a story where, they get married. But as it unfolds, 55% of the time, it ends up in divorce. Doesn't work out. Less than 13% of couples report being in love, and less than 3% report being in a state of bliss after 8 years. So that's just the way things are. What do you want me to tell you? Boy, oh boy. Anyway, that was an interesting week for me, seeing all of that blow up. And it's like, people go, how do you deal with all the hate? I read some of the comments and some of the nasty shit that they say about you. And it's like, the vast majority of them, they don't have any photographs of themselves. It's just like an avatar, or they have like a fucking, the white knight simps usually have like some masculine statue or something like that, or they're a wizard of sorcery, some kind of like thing like that. And, the women that show themselves, good for you, go chase those degrees. No man's ever gonna be like, oh, look at the degree on her when she's walking away. Look at the way her degree sort of shakes and moves as she's walking away. There's no guy that ever looks at that. Even the simps that are like trying to prop up the lie that careers and degrees are attractive towards men. It's an unfortunate world. It's an unfortunate world, man, but it is what it is. I'm going to grab some of these comments over here and see what you guys got from me. You can super chat something if you want me to address it, by all means. Let me grab the add a guest to the show. So the call-in segment, the Q&A, call in and ask a question. I'll drop that in here. I'll go for as long as another hour and 15. If you guys have a lot of questions, I'll do them. Somebody was asking in the chat earlier about me doing Twitter Spaces. I did them a few times. Yeah, here it is. Hey, Rich, why don't you do space anymore at X? You went on once and after never did it again. What sort of spaces? What was this guy's name? Milk. Q&A style. I mean, I could squeeze it in if there's enough interest in it. But I do Q&A call-ins on the show, and I kind of like doing it this way. I got the studio set up with the lighting and, the good audio. If I do a space, it's on my phone with shit audio, and it's just not, it's not the greatest quality, but I don't know, maybe I'll contemplate it. Where did I drop it over here? So if you guys on YouTube, I'll just pin it to the top and I'll leave it in the live chat. But if you guys want to call in and ask me anything, it's open, whatever you want. Just got the copy of Top Shelf Man the other day. Can't wait to read it. Enjoy it. I think you will love it. It is a fantastic book. Everybody that is fed back to me has told me that it's far, far better than the first one. So thank you for that. What are some of the degrees women are flaunting? That's a great question. Anything that requires you to dress up in a gown in front of a nice stone archway behind you in a educational institution that's been sitting around for 100 or 200 or 300 years or something like that, Oxford, Yale, Harvard, something like that. So whatever they're taking over there, I don't know if they're useful degrees or useless degrees. One of them that we had up on the screen before, and I closed on my tab so I can't go back to it, was, I don't know, something to do with gender studies or something or another. So you can put on a gown and still get a degree in, some liberal arts sort of, component as well. Yeah, so people won't throw that much hate at you if it wasn't true. The amount of cope in the thread and the butthurt people have over you posting the facts is hilarious. I've always said that bombers only get flack over the target. During the Second World War, when the British and American bombers were flying towards Germany. They knew that they were either over the target or approaching the target, because that's when the flak guns would go off, trying to shoot down the planes. So hence the saying, bombers only get flak when they're over the target, right? I used to jokingly call this room Bomber Command, you know, back in the day. And I've been doing this for a while now. It's been, wow, 11 years plus now. It's going on 12 years. Let's see what else you guys got here in the chat. You guys are chatting away, but don't have any call-ins. Guys, if you have questions, now is the time to do it. Otherwise, I can wrap up the show. There's lots more I could be doing with my time this evening. Yeah, good point, Kizza. It's educated women can't answer a simple question like this, or it's over their head. Like, you can have a degree and be academically smart, but street retarded, and completely miss the point that there is no man in history that would, you know, get turned on by a degree. If degrees and academic accomplishments were so hot, then OnlyFans wouldn't be hosting OnlyFans models selling pictures of their TNA and their butthole and all that stuff. It would be women getting degrees, posting pictures of their degrees on OnlyFans for $9.99 a month. But you don't get that. You get women posting nudity, because that's what guys are interested in. When there's a conflict between what is said and what the behavior is, right? Stated preferences versus revealed preferences. All of these nerds out there that are all like, I'm going to state my preference for a smart academic woman. It's probably the same loser paying $9.99 a month to Bonnie Blue or whoever the top OnlyFans model is today. I don't know. Under the radar, not telling anybody, because they want to see the TNA and the butthole sort of stuff, right? I just point to the facts, guys. You know, don't shoot the messenger. Larry says, I think you do a good job. Maybe you could move the needle 5%, worth it for civilization. I mean, man, I try. You know, I've written books. I've done hundreds of podcasts. I've done lots of videos. I have my own communities where I really take a lot of time to coach guys to get them what they want. And the unfortunate part about all of this is you get what you want out of life. You make the money, you look good, you're competent, you're resourceful, you're well-spoken, you're captivating. You know, men want to be you, women want to be with you, sort of thing. And your end result is a dating pool where the vast majority of it is filled with Beckys, right? Or some version of the Penelope gal over there talking to her matchmaker. Honestly, I don't know if that's real or fake. It could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if it's real. Could also be fake. Could go either way. It's all show. Guys, again, the call-in link is in the pinned top comment of YouTube. If you disagree with me, call me on, call me out. I mean, let's see how good you are at a debate. I promise you I can open up a jar with my bare hands, though. Oh, aren't you sweet, Claudia? Thank you. Took the screen. She took screens that make Rich look angry. Yeah, that's what they'll do. You know, they'll take a screenshot and then they'll put a little thing together, seething with anger. Loser seething with anger. What color is your Porsche collection, Rob? Let's see what else we got here. No volume, no sound. We fixed that. Sorry, I'm just scrolling through all this stuff over here as you guys chop it up. Yeah, the 7 figures vocal fry. Yeah, it's just wild, man. No, I mean, yeah, you know, some people say it's a joke. I don't buy it. Colors that match. Your colors have to match. They have to complement my reds and yellows. I look good in these colors, so you need to find me a guy that wears blues and greens, right? But she's the lead receptionist. I should get one of those button things that Kevin Samuels, you know, used to have. Lead receptionist. Just push that button. Lead receptionist. But it's on her vision board. Yeah, you know, women love the crystals and the numerology and astrology sort of stuff. I'm just a realist, guys. I'm just an out and out realist. I just point to the facts. Nobody, nobody's ever been able to come out and argue or debate any of the things or any of the points that I've made, even when I try to do it. And it's like, guys, you follow me. You disagree with something. What is it that you disagree with me on? And what is your better solution? Quite often, what I'll get is the disagreement, but I don't get a better solution. It's like, well, if you're going to disagree, then how would you solve that problem? What is your vector of attack on this to deal with it? Right? I've said this for years. This is why I put my School of Entrepreneurship together to teach you guys, how to solve problems, how to create a business, how to get through life and make some life-changing money and do something serious, with it, sort of stuff like that. And it's like problem solving, but people don't even think outside of the box. It's just copy and paste. Oh, I saw a girl post a picture of herself with Rich's caption in her graduation dress. So I'm going to be one of 5,000 more that are also doing the exact same thing on X because I like this trend and I want to be trendy too. And it's like fucking sheep. They don't even understand what it is that they're doing. They think it's a burn, like I care, like I don't sleep at night, like I'm lying in bed counting all of the pictures of girls with degrees in their fucking gowns, staying awake, going, I can't sleep. There's a girl with a gown and a degree that's keeping me up. I don't give a flying fuck. Nobody fucking cares. Like I said, if they were attractive, you would see women with degrees on OnlyFans, but you don't. You don't. What are simps paying for on OnlyFans? Nudes. That's what they're looking at. Yeah, did you ever see that stand-up comic? What's his name? Sebastian? Aren't you embarrassed? The Italian guy, the little guy. Aren't you embarrassed like this? They don't get it, though. They don't get it. Anyway. Well, you guys are awfully quiet tonight. Maybe I've entertained you sufficiently where you're done. That's cool. I can get on with my evening. I think I'm going to go for a sauna then and have a little chill and maybe script out some stuff for some car reviews, not car reviews, car videos. Anyway, so I'll just quickly recap, guys. Out on the top left of your screen, there's a QR code for the School of Unplugging. Please, if you want to take things to the next step, don't sit around watching videos. Don't go on X and start harassing these girls with degrees and saying mean things. That's gay. That's a waste of your time. Don't do that shit. If you want to level up, there's the 7 spokes of a high value man that I've talked about many a time. And this is where the coaching is going with the School of Unplugging. I'm going to unplug you from all the comforting lies. I'm going to get you up there on captivation, looks, game, status, all the good stuff to where you want to be. I'm also giving you all my best material in the school. Again, go to the top left of the screen, scan the QR code. The price is fixed up until 150. We're at 137. We'll get there fast. Also in the ticker below, my email list. If you're newer to the channel and you've enjoyed the show, why don't you just opt in? You can get my red flag chapter, 21 red flags. And then there's 16 green flags. You can go check that out and you can download that absolutely for free. And you can learn what bright traits to look for in good women, which are rare, and the red flag traits that you definitely want to stay away from because you will invite chaos into your life. All right. Oh, hang on. I got somebody over here. I got a B that's calling in. Let's see what B's got for us. B, what's up?
Hey, Rich. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. What do you got for me, buddy?
Like you were posting that lady up there and she had her list of demands. What's the most outrageous demand you've ever seen?
That's pretty much it. That's like the final boss of Becky's, making a long laundry list of demands, just looking average as hell.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
Well, once you start to see the code in the matrix and you see what's out there and why they're doing it and what their motivations are, then you start to understand it a little bit better. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you don't let it bother you. Like, don't let any of this stuff bother you. It shouldn't be something that gets under your skin. And again, something that I want to emphasize to you guys is don't waste your time like spitting venom at any of these people online. You know what I mean? It's like I do it from the perspective of sort of like educating you around the stuff that's kind of in blind spots. But I really don't like it when guys go and they start to attack these like women. And it's like, I'm not simping for them or anything like that, but like attacking from the perspective of they just don't get it and they're never going to get it. And saying these things, trying to, undermine them or to sort of cut them or burn them. It's like, let them go and do their little blog posts with a picture of you seething in resentment. Let them have their fun. That'll always be out there. Let them do that sort of stuff. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, B, do you have any other questions? You got anything else for me?
No.
Or it's just like, who's the final boss of the Beckys?
I was just gonna say I've seen that a lot where it's like, well, I know he's out there. Here's my list.
Yeah.
And it's like some of them just expect that he's just gonna like walk through their front door and be like, here I am.
Nobody hates women more than other women. Women will lie to each other and tell them some story about, just wait, girl. He'll come along. Don't lower your standards. He's out there. And they tell each other this bullshit. It's like they need to start telling each other the truth. I'm literally the only one that's willing to tell them the truth, and they don't even want to hear it. The only time these chicks are willing to hear it is when they're well past their prime, well past the best bargaining position they're ever going to have in their early 20s, like late 30s, early 40s. And it's like, I got nothing for you. I am not going to be able to connect you with a 6-foot handsome giant that's successful, competent, and want to marry your basic looking ass. It's just not out there. It's never going to happen. Anyway, Pete, thanks for popping in, man. Wahlberger, I'll give it to you real quick and then we'll wrap up if there's nobody else. What's up, buddy?
Hey, bro. Yeah, women. Okay, this is what my lady's been doing. See this? All this stuff behind me here.
All that Christmas decoration stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, making the place look nice. I mean, it's fantastic. It's great fun. And she loves it. She has a good time. She has a great time with it. She loves her life. I brought on my new baby girl who's 9 months. Come on, man. Like, this is what ladies like. Do you know how much strategy there is put in this? And I did the high stuff, right? All up in the trees. That's my deal. But go ahead, lady. Do your thing. Have some fun. This is what a fun life is about. Come on, ladies. Get down to it.
There you go. Wahlberger spoken and he's showing you how it's done. Thanks, man.
Cheers, brother.
See you, buddy. Andy, real quick. Andy, what do you got for me, buddy?
Hey, dude. Yeah. I tried to actually like your post on X, but I couldn't because X banned me. I'm apparently a bot, according to Elon's algorithm. So I did see it, but I couldn't do anything with it. It's hilarious. Do you think that college has gotten to be like almost a red flag for women at this point, or is it not, black and white like that?
If she's going to prioritize, look, I get why women want an education because they've been told over and over again by female family members that men ain't shit and you can't rely on men. And I get why they're saying that because, guys have become softer. They have. There's no question about it. But I mean, to your question of, is it a red flag? Yeah. For a guy like me, if a woman is bragging about academia, like, I saw that post that showed up my feed, that Bumble picture of the girl in the dating app, and she had a picture of her standing there in the gown with a degree, holding it up very proudly. Like something like that just tells me that you're obsessed with this dumbest shit. That like, show me a fucking meal. Like, show me that you can cook. You know what I mean? Like, show me that you've got sewing skills or something that would be useful in my life that would contribute to the betterment of it. You know what I mean? Something that would contribute. But it's like, the focus put on things like that for me anyway, personally, it's not important. But there are guys out there that do prioritize, well, I make pretty good money. I'm an accountant or I'm a junior lawyer at a law firm. So I want somebody that's also, doing something similar to me, because guys have been lied to too, as well. It's like, find your equal, find your partner, go and find your partner. So like the entire situation is messed up. Like there's no question about it. But where I'm at in my life right now, it's like I see obsession with careers and degree and corporate ladders and padded shoulders and their fucking boss girl suits and stuff like that. It's just a put off. You muted, by the way.
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, like, in today's economy, world, whatever, it's really not a horrible thing, because it's almost like you gotta have, for an average family, like 2 incomes to live on. So it's not, it's not a bad thing necessarily. But I've run into women, I guess, who sort of like flex it a little bit too much. And college just means she thinks she's smarter than you are in just about every situation.
Yeah.
And, a high body count, to be honest with you, because I've been to college myself. It's been a while, obviously, but I've been through the bars scene and seen all. I've not necessarily participated in all, but I've seen it, and it's like, bro, like, ooh,
Yeah.
first semester in college, a lot of them are just cooked. They're not wife
That's-
material. So maybe chicks who
That's
got
what I
like
bring you.
married early, started a family, then went on and got some kind of a degree, and then joined a profession. Maybe that's a thing. That's okay. But if they go to college at like 18 or whatever, oof, man, it's maybe single digit percentages that graduate unscathed, if
You
you
know
know what I
that
mean. So
women used to go to college and university to get their MRS degree, right? To find a husband, right? They don't do that so much anymore. And I don't know if there's not enough men in colleges. I think that's one of the problems, that there's far more women taking post-secondary schooling. I think that the caliber of men that they're running across in schools isn't as high anymore. Like, it's mostly the softies, the dorks, and maybe the guys are maybe putting that off. They're getting into entrepreneurship. Maybe they're getting into trades or something else. But that's what they're doing. They're prioritizing, hooking up and partying and getting their degree and, studying bugs or whatever it is. It's, on the table for them. It is what it is. Cool. Andy, I'll let you go. I got gin and tonics. Trying to move through all of these over here. Gin and tonics. What's up, buddy?
Hey, Rich. How you going?
Good. How are you, man?
Yeah, good, man. I just wanted to add a little bit to that last comment from Andy about college girls. There's one thing you can be sure of if you come across a college girl or a university graduate. They're full of feminism.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely chockers full of it. Every single college and university in the world has just got this third wave feminism being, running through the social science courses, and they just come out completely rabid. And you can't change their mind. They'll never change their mind.
No, their minds do change, but it only changes when they've hit the wall the second time. I've talked about the 2-wall problem. The wall is first hit in their early 20s when their looks start to go on the decline, and then the second time is when they come to the realization that their looks have gone on the decline, and that's usually by the age of around 40, right? And that's when they're like, ugh. That's when I get the emails, and that's when I get the girls on like the podcast shows where they're like, everything you said, Rich, is absolutely correct. I wish somebody would have told me this when I was in my 20s, but even then I probably wouldn't have listened to it. I was raised by a single mom. She told me to never trust a man, never, prioritize family formation, go and get your degrees and stand on your own 2 feet, blah, blah, blah. They do come to the realization. The unfortunate part is the realization usually comes too late for them.
Yeah, I kind of agree that you can change people's minds along those points, but I still think that you're facing women who will always believe that there is a gender pay gap and that the patriarchy needs to be fought, and they need to get out there and get a career so that they can service some male CEO. That's the thing that I don't think can be changed.
Yeah, it's going to be a long time before any of that changes. I'll tell you when I think it'll change. It'll change when the shit hits the fan. It'll change when there's a world war. It'll change if there's a meteor that wipes out 20% of the Earth's population. It'll change when something big happens and there's like a reset. But until then, with the decline's really, like, it is what it is. Enjoy it.
Yeah, totally agree. Thanks, Rich.
See you, mate. Bye. Yeah. All right, so I'll wrap up on that note. That's a decent show. I'll move back to some of the other chapters, or maybe I'll have something else next week. We'll see where it goes. But again, scan that QR code in the top left. Get in the school of unplugging. I'll drop it in the chat again over here. There we go. Yeah, boom. That's for you guys. If you're serious about leveling up and getting into do the work and getting coached on it and getting all the best material and opportunity for meetups coming up and stuff like that. It's all there. That's where you want to go. We'll see you guys later. Have an awesome night and peace out.